Shabbat Shalom and greetings to you all of you, my friends. Now, sadly, it would appear that at this time of light and miracles, that Canada has possibly surpassed France as just about the most anti-Semitic Western country. Firebombings, shootings, vandalism, desecration, destruction, outward signs of mindless hate, and a government that there's nothing to say. It has to change. We need to see the hostages freed and the hatred stopped. It is growing and it needs to be stopped. And what a week this is. 3 major events take place. It's a time of hope. It's a time where we want miracles to occur. We have the winter solstice. Therefore, we have a change of season. These days have always been celebrated with blessings, or with kavanot, prayerful intentions for crossing from one time to another. And each of these days corresponds to a meaning in life. And the meaning of the winter solstice, the season of going from dark to light, the final deep sleep of earth, before she awakens with the newness of spring, of life, of love, of hope, of dreams, is epitomized in the search for light. And just as the seasons of life, of love, of hope, of dreams change, as above so below, the seasons in our lives change. Trees shed their leaves and are dormant before there is regrowth. We see this all the time. So what do we need to do? What do you need to shed in order to grow? Can you let go of your rigidity? Can you let go of pushing yourself to make things happen? The ebb and flow of life reminds us there is an ebb and flow to us. Our resistance is what creates friction in life. Now, the blessing said for these days go way back to the Babylonian Talmud. Blessed are you, Lord God, who guides the world, who makes creation, whose wisdom changes the times, turns the seasons. As long as the days of the earth endure, planting and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night, shall not cease. Blessed are you, divine presence. Blesses the years. Now, of course, the winter solstice ushers in our other 2 events. On the same day this year, a true rarity, last seen in 2005, before it, 1959. The first being Christmas. One of the true great twin festivals of light. The symbol of the one great light of God, with Jesus representing the great star that guides, that reminds us to forgive and to love. The true keys of the kingdom. The great hope for man is always found in the search for kindness, for decency, for forgiveness, for love. There's always been that elusive ether we float in and out of. It's not a religious thing, although built into just about all religions. It's a human thing. It is a true need, because the soul, the life force, the blood, the emotions, the heart of man needs love to survive. And we see it culturally represented. We see Cupid at Valentine's Day, and of course Santa at Christmas. And with Santa, with the bipolar view of life that we have, there's always a lesson of love and of miracles. And it's seen this time of the year in the opposite, and that's the Grinch. The Grinch can never be canceled. He's indelibly put into people's minds. He's the dominant theme, year in, year out. No one wants to be a Grinch. And we'll be reading about that kind of foul Grinch-type relationship in these next few weeks. You're a foul one, Mr. Grinch. You're a nasty, wasty skunk. Your heart is full of unwashed socks, your soul full of gunk, Mr. Grinch. The 3 words that best describe you are as follows, and I quote: stink, stank, stunk. Now, nobody wants to be a Grinch, and nobody wants to be a Scrooge. You want to be swept up in goodwill to man. Now, Christmas has now become the time of miracles. No longer seen as a religious holiday, although it is. But it's now miracle time, just like Hanukkah has always represented. Hanukkah has always been about a miracle. And Hanukkah, of course, is the other great celebration. And it is purely a holiday of miracles, of light, of rededication, from the Hebrew verb chanuk, meaning to dedicate. It's known for lighting the menorah, teaching kids to gamble with a spinning top, honoring a true miracle, and eating lots of fried foods. Put on your yarmulke. Here comes Hanukkah. It's so much funukkah to celebrate Hanukkah. Hanukkah is the festival of lights. Instead of one day of presents, we have 8 crazy nights. When you feel like the only kid in town without a Christmas tree. Here's a list of people who are Jewish, just like you and me. Bobby Zimmerman lights the menorah. So does Timothy Chalamet, Drake, and others you adore. Guess who ate together at the Carnegie Deli? Matthew Broderick, Sly Stallone, and Peter Coyote. And of course there's many, many others. I brought some of the names up to date. Now, we all know the story. Around 170 before the Common Era, the temple in Jerusalem was sacked by the Syrian Hellenists, who forbid the practice of Judaism, and erected an idol in the temple. Now, for several years, there was terrible persecution. Surprise, surprise, what do we see now? And at one point, the Greeks arrived in Modin, a city just west of Jerusalem. You can still go visit it today, where they ordered the Jews to sacrifice a pig to the Greek gods. Well, the priest, Mattathias, refused, and he killed the person who was willing to do the sacrifice, along with the Greek envoy, and a guerrilla war broke out. Now the priest, Mattathias, and his sons, led by Judah, nicknamed Maccabee, which means the hammer, and that's an acronym for Michamocha Be'alim Adonai, who was like you among the powers of God. Now that's a prayer which actually became a high holy day song. They lead the revolt. Well, the actual fighting takes 25 years, but after the first 3, the Maccabees reconquer Jerusalem and they start the cleanup. Well, they cleaned up the temple. And since the famous gold menorah, which Moses was instructed to design and build, had been melted down, they lit a makeshift one with only 1 vial of holy oil that they found, enough to last 1 day. Well, the miracle of Hanukkah is that the menorah burned for 8 days instead of 1. This allowed fresh oil to be brought to the temple. That's why the menorah, or Hanukkah, as it's properly called, lit for the holiday, is different from the temple menorah, having 8, not 7 spaces, plus 1, giving 9. Now the 9th serves as the shamash, the helper light, which lights the others. Now the story is well told in the Talmud, in Shabbat 21b. And of course, shamash was a word that people were familiar with. It was the Mesopotamian god of the sun and truth, justice and healing. So it was a great name for the flame to light the other candles. Well, about 2,000 years ago, there was a debate between the 2 primary schools of rabbinic thought, the school of Hillel and the school of Shammai. And there were many debates, in fact, but this is just one of them. Shammai school felt 8 candles should be lit the first night, and each night thereafter we decrease a candle. This would symbolize that the remaining oil decreased each night. The school of Hillel felt we should increase the candle each night. Now, of course, the Maccabees did not increase the number of lights that kindled. They just lit the one great light. So why should we? Well, we do it for a couple of reasons, and one of them is to publicize the miracle. Our ancient rabbis created the story of Hanukkah, the story that the Maccabees had 1 day's worth of oil that lasted 8 days to emphasize the miracle. It was never written about as having occurred in any of the writings of the time. It's also one of the reasons why we put the Hanukkah in our front windows. It shows the world light is coming back and increasing all the time. And the solstice reminds us of the inexorable movement of time. So gather with who you can. Kindle the lights. Ignore cholesterol. Eat fried foods. It's how we honor oil. Tasty fruit brings us joy. Donuts. Latkes. And don't forget, Jewish holidays love food. And remember, there's 2 miracles to note here. The first, the 1 day of oil burning for 8 days. And the second, the real miracle, the amazing victory of the small force over the great force. David and Goliath played out on the physical plane with the war. And we all have ongoing physical challenges and battles in our lives. And the other is the spiritual battle. Boy, do we have those. The battle of the force of light over the forces of dark. And that's a battle many fight their entire lives. Let's face it, dark is usually easier. Just look at Darth Vader. Now, I saw a fantastic t-shirt the other day that basically really captured Hanukkah to describe to somebody. And basically it had a picture of a phone on it, with the battery thing being in the red. And it said, imagine you have 10% of battery power left and your phone lasts for 8 days. And I like that. I mean, it hits today's generation. We kindle these lights for the miracles and wonders, for the redemption and battles that you made for our forefathers in those days at this season through your holy priests. During all the days of Hanukkah, these lights are sacred. We're not permitted to make ordinary use of them except for to look at them in order to express thanks and praise to your great name for your miracles, your wonders, and your salvations. We don't light them and use them as we would a normal Sabbath candle. They're simply for the holy observation. Now, Hanukkah reminds us about the growing power of light and love in our lives. And each candle has meaning. The first is about God and creation. The second candle honors the holy beings, men and women. We are the holy beings of God. The third candle is about the goodness of God. The fourth honors the rededication of the temple, which is what the holiday is about. The fifth candle reminds us there's still God in a broken world. While the sixth speaks of the oppression of people. This is not just something from the past. Every generation has nation waging war with nation or within nation, as we see today. The seventh candle reminds us of the 7 days of creation and our need to be righteous. While the eighth candle tells us light is everywhere. It is always around us. And if you want to associate one word with each day as you light the candles, it would be health, family, learning, hope, love, charity, holiness, peace. And friends, light is always around us when we gather and share and celebrate, like when we do. When we take the time to honor and pray and observe as a community, collective consciousness of seekers showing faith, any and all faith, love, any and all love. Because we are a fellowship, a true chavura, to express our nature of kindness. Compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes. It unites us all in this community, house of spirit, Beth Ruach, sharing and bringing light, keeping fear at bay. And even though we're together, we're still individual in our approach, each connecting in his or her their own way. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody you know, physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, any way at all, to gather and share. From Psalm 133, the Hine Matov. Come together. Hine Matov, Umanai, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Umanai, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. Community. unity together. And we are a community together. We support each other. So let's all spread love, goodwill, fellowship to the world. Remember, this is you setting aside just a little bit of sacred time in your own sacred space to honor and converse with whatever you happen to believe in. We all believe in something. It's a part of your kavanah, your intention that you put out to the universe. It's your goodwill. And goodwill and intention are the roots of what you can control, of what you can correct. It's your intention that sets in motion everything that occurs in your lives. Let's take some time now. Let's use that intention. Let's send some of that goodwill, some light, some healing out to whoever you know that needs it. Healing and renewal for everybody. It just floats through space, finding those it needs to send it out. For those you know, for the souls and spirits of everyone you love. So think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love, or just plain goodwill. Focus on them, call their names. It's not just for people. It's for our pets. It's for the earth. It is the healing of the world. The tikkun olam that is part of our spiritual genetic makeup as a human race. And part of the healing of the world is when we send thoughts and energy for health and renewal and goodwill for everybody. They don't have to be sick, although it is the prayer for the sick, but it is for those in our hearts and our minds. So let's all send out energy for people in need everywhere. Special thoughts and prayers for those in need of assistance. We pray for those who need prayer. We don't have to know them. We all want health, recovery, good life for everybody around us. Let's continue to send healing energy for the hostages, still in prison, still languishing. Let them be free. Let the miracle of Hanukkah see their freedom. Let us demand their freedom. And for those closer to us. For my dear friend Alan, kind, compassionate, wonderful father and husband, devoted to family, friends, and community. You know, he's a regular listener or viewer who like the humble do, only lets me know what's happening when something's actually happening. For Callie, the muse of song. For William, and Amin, for AJ. For Trevor, Gabby, and Jess. For Terrence, who we hope had an awesome birthday. Bonita. For Snoopy and Red. For Carson. For Dave and Sabrina. For Marie and Paul. For PJ. Richard, Marlon. For Lucy, Pinky, Gloria, Inura. For dear Alana, who I may get to see a little later today. For Johnny and Fern. For Kathleen, Carla and Mina. For Charles. For Marie and John. For Doria, Connie, Ronnie. For Tally and Mayim. For Nina and Danny. For all those suffering and in need. Let's not forget to include all of the familiars of our lives, all of our sacred animal friends everywhere. For everyone you know. For the whole world. For Rosemary. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing wishes, goodwill, and love you all send out. Circles of the world, finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care. Because the world is a world of spirit. And spirit, my friends, never dies. Me, Shaberach, Avotenu, Makor HaBracha, Limotenu, may the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body. The renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Misha Baruch, let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing, which we call upon God to heal as He has healed before. Misha Baruch, may He who blessed, as all healing is a blessing. Let's all send and receive healing and renewal energy, and our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow. Now this week we read of Vayeshev, and he dwelt. Jacob and his family were settled. They lived a pretty good life. He sent his sons out to tend the sheep. We meet his sons. We meet one in particular, who the Bible now shifts its focus to, as he becomes the dominant character through the end of Genesis. We're introduced to him via dreams, which play not just a crucial role in his life, but all of our lives. He is the dream master, and his ability to interpret others' dreams, not his own, propels his journey and his growth. But his silent development, that of character, is in his emulation of his uncle Esau, one of the most loathed of all biblical characters. For Joseph will actually adopt Esau's ability to forgive. Here we have another great example of a role we should hold up and talk about, but which again, we've had a tendency to negate. Now this reading is a bookend reading. It begins and ends with pairs of dreams. And that emphasizes the biblical clue of doubles and their power. We talked about it with name calling. It's also the same thing when it comes to dreams. I've just closed my eyes again. Climbed aboard the dream weaver train. Driver, take away my worries of today. Leave tomorrow behind. Oh, dream weaver, I believe you can get me through the night. Oh, dream weaver, I believe we can reach the morning light. And we can all reach the morning light. And we all love when we wake up and we had a dream. And we love stories about dreams. We all dream. We don't always remember them, but we all dream, and we all want to know what they mean. And we are inundated this week with 4 of the most famous dreams in history. And in between, we see Joseph being sold by his brothers. We see his strange relationship with his owner's wife leading to his imprisonment, and ending with the dreams of the 2 prisoners. Now we're introduced to Joseph very early in the reading, Genesis 37:2. Joseph, at 17 years old, had been tending the sheep with his brothers, and he was a boy with the sons of Bela and the sons of Zipporah, his father's wives, and Joseph brought a bad report of them to their father. And Israel had loved Joseph the most of all of his children because he was a son of old age to him. Well, he didn't love him because he was a son of old age to him. He was the son of the only woman he loved, Rachel. And he made him a coat of many colors. So here's this 17-year-old kid who we're told is a squealer. He squeals on his brothers. And he's the favorite. Now, what is another biblical truth based on unknown words is this idea of the coat of many colors, ketonet pasim, which in Hebrew is really more like a long-sleeved coat. The Greek translation is what suggested a colored coat. But traditional early understanding was that it was simply a special coat. Now, the actual suggestion that Joseph's coat was many colors comes from the story of Tamar, who was dressed in an ornamental ceremonial tunic in Samuel 2. And oddly enough, in the middle of this reading about Joseph, we segue to the story of Tamar and Joseph's brother Judah, an amazing story which doesn't belong here, but connects the characters, and hence the coat of many colors. Well, the coat of many colors depicted in the great stage productions was nothing like in the Bible. That was great artistic license. Now, those coats, if you've ever seen any of the plays, were simply fantastic. I wore my coat with golden lining, bright colors shining, wonderful and new. And in the east, the dawn was breaking, and the world was waking. Any dream will do. Crash of drums, flash of light. My golden coat flew out of sight. Colors faded into darkness. I was left alone. That is a show I love. I love to see it every time it comes to town. Now, the coat fits the overall biblical narrative because it separates Joseph from the others. The entire Bible is based on separation. Genesis 37:4. And his brothers saw that their father loved him most of all his brothers, and they hated him. They were not able to speak a greeting to him. Now, the biblical Hebrew, and even today, in Hebrew we say shalom, for peace and well-being, for hello. And one says, ha-shalom lo. Does he have peace? For how is he? Here we're told that the brothers could not even say this to him. Dibaro shalom. They could not say shalom. They could not say hello or peace be with you. Now that's hate. But keep in mind, this, my friends, is about us all. It's a story of greed, hate, envy, things we all carry. Genesis 37:4. And his brothers saw that their father loved him most of all his brothers, and they hated him. They were not able to speak a greeting to him. And Joseph had a dream and told it to his brothers, and they went on to hate him even more. Well, he actually ended up having two dreams about the family. First dream is about the sheaves of wheat. Joseph rises and the others bow down to it. The second has the sun and moon and 11 stars bowing to him. Father, mother, siblings. You would think he would know better than to lord it over his siblings. Well, one of the subtle, hidden things that we learn from this furthers this concept of the double. We've seen before. We know that the double name calling signifies life-defining moments, especially that we saw with Abraham. But here we now learn about the double dream, both with the same meaning. And that's going to signify a dream that comes true. We're going to see that later with the butler and baker as this reading ends, and then again next week with Pharaoh himself. Joseph has a special skill. He will be able to interpret other people's dreams, but not his own, like many of us. He will learn what every psychoanalyst knows. Seeing the meaning of one's own dreams is often the hardest. Now, there's also a uniqueness to this character not shared with any other biblical character. We will watch the growth of the 17-year-old over the next few weeks as we see the years go by, as he goes from awkward father spy to wise ruler. So Jacob sends Joseph out to spy on his brothers. Genesis 37:18. They saw him from a distance, and before he came close to them, they conspired against him to kill him. And the brothers said to one another, "Here comes the dream master, that one there. Now, let's kill him, throw him in one of the pits, and we'll say a wild animal ate him, and we'll see what his dreams will be." So they throw him in a pit. They take his fancy coat. They rip it a little. They put goat blood on it. They make it look like he was killed by a wild animal, and they send it to Jacob to show him his son was dead. Here we have more of the underlying karmic payback for Jacob, who used his brother's clothes and goat fur to deceive his father. Is it any wonder we associate karma more with bad than good? Now, when good things happen to us or others, we say lucky. But when bad happens, we say karma. Now, using the tools Jacob used to deceive his father Isaac, his sons now deceive him. This is the most incredible book of karma in the entire Bible. Everything done is paid back. Well, the Torah then shifts to an incredible parallel story, the one about Judah, one of Joseph's brothers. Read it. It's fantastic. And if I hadn't spent the time on Hanukkah, I might have spent time on that story because it deserves to be talked about. But we'll talk about it another time. Now suddenly we shift right back to Joseph, just in the middle of nowhere. Genesis 39:1. And Joseph had been brought down to Egypt, and an Egyptian man, Potiphar, an official of Pharaoh, chief of the guards, bought him from the hand of the Ishmaelites who had brought him down there. Well, Joseph is now seduced by Potiphar's wife, and he refuses her, for which she accuses him of rape, and he's thrown in prison, where he meets the cupbearer and baker of Pharaoh, who both have dreams they can't understand. He interprets their dreams, telling them they are the same. It's the same dream, but for one, it means life, for the other, death. And the dream master is right. One is executed, the other is freed. And as the cupbearer leaves the prison, Joseph implores him, Help him obtain his freedom. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred, so is everything in it. Express your gratitude. Light a candle, make a wish, celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light, and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone. Remember, we're a community. We learn together. We celebrate with each other. We have to pray for an end to terror and hatred. We love each other. We share this right together, man, when equally. Let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. Learn to forgive. Learn to love. Open your hearts and honor the relationships of your life and tell those you love that you do love them, or they'll never know. Examine your intentions. Use them to imprint your will on the universe, because we set in motion everything that happens in our lives. It's our intention, our kavana, our cause, our effect. Everything's linked. You always have time to forgive and be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad, so acknowledge what you've done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you've wronged. Ask forgiveness. But always do so with sincerity, accountability, and vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you as you learn to be forgiving and compassionate. Because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So keep on dreaming, my friends. Keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching. We're all teachers. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear. Follow love. It's always in front of you. Work to be present in the body. Expand your heart and quiet your mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in consciousness and your ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances. Love with the heart. We're all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you whether you know it or not, and usually you don't know it. Continue to explore faith and belief. Never accept shame as a natural state. Whatever you feel others have felt, whatever you've experienced others have too. We share together. We learn together. We help each other. Because we're each of us trying to find love and acceptance and support. We all have or could have a special someone in our lives, so find them. Tell them what they mean. And remember, you're never alone on your journey. Listen to the voice of God as he, she, it, them, they, whatever, talks to you. And remember, your connection to God and all he has created in body and soul, it's a part of you, it's a part of me, it's a part of all of us forever. Listen to that voice. God is always talking to you. And notice the role of forgiveness and how important it is. Ishmael forgave Isaac. Esau forgave Jacob. Joseph is going to be forgiving. It is a lesson to us all. Keep forgiving those you need to forgive, and keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of. Keep watching the miracles of your life. It is the time of miracles. And never stop dreaming. Hold on tight to your dream. Hold on tight to your dream. When you see your ship go sailing, when you feel your heart is breaking, hold on tight to your dream. And let's pray for the freedom of the hostages. Always hold on to your dreams, my friends. Thank you for joining me. Have a great week. Get ready for the Joseph Chronicles that are going to be continuing. Have a wonderful Christmas and Hanukkah and change of season. And I'll see you all soon. Shabbat Shalom and blessings to you all. Take care. Bye.